Well, I felt that there was, from early on, I felt that there was something not quite right. I felt like I wasn't getting very big. It wasn't really an option. We were very much of the mindset that this is our baby, it doesn't matter if she's disabled. And said, look, each of these things on their own we could probably fix, but usually the combination means that there's a chromosomal issue.
On this episode of Beyond the Labour Ward, we're going to talk to Liz. Liz is a mother of 5 children, but it's her second pregnancy that Liz needed so much courage and determination. Let's hear Liz's story now. Thanks, Liz, for coming today and sharing your story. I've known you for quite some time now, and it's a joy to have you here.
Thanks, Peter.
Okay. So, let's talk about the first time we met. Well, first time that I remember, at least. When was that?
That was, I was a student midwife, and I was having my first baby.
Yep.
And I had the baby.
Yes.
And he'd done some pretty severe damage on his way out.
Right.
So it had been sort of fixed, but then they had called you in to give us a hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did I describe that to you again?
You described it that the baby had come out with a hand grenade.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I often refer to these sort of unfortunate moments as a hand grenade tear, where it's just bits and pieces everywhere. It sounds really gross, but there is a process you have to go through to kind of piece it all back together again.
Yeah.
And did we have to go to theatre afterwards?
No.
No,
Thankfully.
got it all sorted. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. And well, that was good.
Yeah.
And I do remember you telling me at that point that you wanted to have how many kids?
10. I remember, I'm sure that was the brief that everybody was getting
That's
about
right,
this
yes.
woman tonight. She can't have a Caesar because she wants to have 10 kids.
That's right, yeah. And so what was your first baby's name?
Ignatius.
Ignatius, great.
Ricky.
How old is he now?
He's 7.
Wow, fantastic. Well, whenever I remember you, it's really about baby number 2.
Yeah.
And of course there's lots of things else that we've done together, but let's start with the journey with is number 2. So how old was Iggy when you were pregnant again?
He was 7 months.
Okay, rightio.
Yeah.
Just when did you first discover something wasn't quite right? From the beginning, or?
Well, I felt that there was, from early on, I felt that there was something not quite right. I felt like I wasn't getting very big.
Right.
And Iggy had been very big, so that was sort of my normal. So I thought, I feel that maybe the baby's not growing well. But it wasn't until the 19-week scan that they had a look at her heart, and they found lots of issues with her heart.
Right.
They had a look at her hands, obviously. She had sort of webbed fingers, and she had her feet turned in.
The talipes, which is turned in feet,
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think Gabe was there with me at that scan, so they said, could you come back on Friday with your husband?
Okay, right.
And that obviously was cue something
for something
wrong.
Yeah.
So we came back on the...
So the question,
Yeah.
you've gone home.
Yeah.
Did you have difficulty sleeping?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I would say I had difficulty sleeping the whole pregnancy, probably.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but I also sort of felt like I knew there was something wrong, you know. I felt that my intuition was right. So, yeah, lots of nervous, sleepless nights. And then on the Friday we went back with Gabe, and they said there was a sort of the head radiographer there, and then he confirmed all of those things and said, look, each of these things on their own we could probably fix, but usually the combination means that there's a chromosomal issue.
Okay. Okay. So, did we do any testing to confirm the chromosomal situation? So how did that go?
So I did the harmony test, I think it's called.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
there was a blood test, and I remember you saying that that itself is not a diagnostic test, but if that came up positive for
Yep.
one of the chromosomal disorders,
Yep.
that in conjunction with the ultrasound was enough of a diagnosis.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I had that blood test at about 22 weeks.
Yeah.
And it came
And
up.
a painful wait.
Oh my goodness! I feel anxious even thinking about it.
Because you did the test. It physically takes like 5 days in the lab for it to do its reaction.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're just being slack. You know. So you had to wait a week for that result. Yeah.
No, but to be honest, like we knew that there was something very wrong. So it was a matter of like, what is it and how wrong and is what's the not just the name, but like what's the diagnosis? What's the for the baby?
And so when you got the NIPT result, what did it come back showing?
Positive for trisomy 18.
Yeah. So just for those people at home, normally we have pairs of chromosomes. We have 22 chromosomes, so pair of number ones, pair of number twos, up to 22. And then you have an X and a Y if you're a bloke, or an X and X. But if you have a third chromosome, so in this case, 3 number 18 chromosomes, it just mucks the whole system up.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what. So where do we go to from there?
Oh, I can't even remember. I think I just said, I remember being on the phone to you and you sort of confirming that and I didn't know really what to do. I was very much just guided by you. And,
So in our modern society, a lot of people would choose to end the pregnancy at that time.
Yeah. I remember the man doing the ultrasound said to us, you know, now, a lot of people would choose to have an abortion and is that what you would like to do? And we said no. And then it just, for us, it wasn't really an option. We were very much of the mindset that this is our baby. It doesn't matter if she's disabled. She's still our child and we're still happy, very much happy to have a disabled child.
Yeah. With trisomy 18, very rarely do they actually even survive up until birth.
Yeah.
And if they are born, which is incredibly rare, they don't survive very long. So you've only got limited time with her.
Yeah. That was something that caused us a lot of anxiety. I remember we used to pray this prayer card every night. It's hard to say.
It's okay.
We used to pray every night together that we would meet her alive and that we could spend time with her. We weren't afraid to have a child with a disability and we were just really set that she was going to be one that lived. We were so determined that that was how it was going to be.
You know, I never knew that.
Didn't you?
I didn't know that.
I felt, probably quite private about it because if you voice it, then it's harder when it doesn't happen.
It's true, yeah.
So, we were so. I had written a birth plan by the end. You know, like we want to baptise her. We want to give her every chance. Don't be afraid to withhold treatment because she's disabled. That doesn't matter to us. I had done all of those things, and that was obviously part of the processing, I think. But yeah, I mean, I was getting lots of scans at the maternal fetal medicine unit at one of the hospitals, and in time you could see that things were sort of slowing down. She was not really growing that much anymore.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then came one day, I think it was a Saturday.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I often think about that day, you know. Really? It's like so clear in my mind, the events. So earlier in the week, I had been worried about her movements. I was about 35 weeks. And I had thought, Gabe, I'm not feeling her move. And so I just sat down on the couch and she went nuts. She really was like kicking around in there and I thought, what am I worrying about? Just move on. And then on the Saturday, we had a family barbecue. It was my brother-in-law's birthday, and we're at the beach, and beautiful day. But I couldn't stop crying. I just couldn't stop crying. Like I said to Gabe, I don't know why I'm so emotional, Gabe, but the tears are just flowing. And I think we need to go home. So we got in the car and we went home, and then I just lay down on my bed for a little while, and then I remember Gabe coming in and saying, I think you should call Peter. And I said, Gabe, I don't need to call Peter. I don't need to. It's fine. It's going to be fine. And he said, I think you should call Peter. So I called you and I said, I'm sorry to bother you. But I think, like, can we just have a check to see if everything's okay? I'm sure everything's fine. And then we got into the car with Iggy because I was so sure that it was going to be fine. And then I remember on the way to your rooms, Gabe was yapping on about politics. He was just going on and on and on. And I remember just sitting there going, oh my gosh, could you just stop talking? And I said as much. And so he sort of, oh, sorry. Are you okay? And then I said to him, I just wish this was all over. Because it had been so hard. You know, I had essentially just been waiting for my baby to die, you know. And I think I still sort of kick myself for saying that, you know, because then it was all over. But anyway, I remember we pulled up outside your office, and I remember you pulled up at the same time and you got out of your car. And I said, oh, sorry, Peter, I'm sure it'll all be fine. Like, and you said, no worries, come in. And so we all went into your room, and then I just lay there, and then you checked the heartbeat and said, yep. And I was like, she's fine? No, she's gone. And I just started, the tears just come streaming out. And it was really hard, very hard day. Yeah, but...
Why wouldn't it be a hard day? I mean, just told your baby's died.
I know, but you just feel that maybe you'll be prepared. You know, maybe all the thinking about it and worrying about it and planning for it, maybe that'll make it more manageable. But it never, ever is. But I remember...
You can rehearse that moment as many times as you like in your mind, but until it actually happens...
It's just, it's never how you imagined it to be. But I remember Iggy was even in the room, but I remember feeling sort of like, okay, this is it. You know, this is it now. This is what it's all been leading towards. That probably sounds weird, but...
How did you go home after that?
We actually went to Mass on our way home.
Okay.
Which felt weird but normal at the same time.
Would that be the time you'd normally go to Mass?
We'd usually go to Mass on a Sunday, but we knew that I would be in labour on the Sunday. Yeah. So we thought we may as well go to Vigil Mass. So we did that. And I remember feeling okay. I remember feeling okay there. And then we went home, and I remember I had a really long, hot shower, and I came out and I felt okay. Like I felt I can do this, you know. I felt like I could do this. And I remember my mum and dad came over, and they had some flowers, and I felt like I loved that they did that, because, you know, it's sort of easy for people to stay away in a moment like that.
Yeah.
But I really was glad that they were there, and you know, it made me feel that it was going to be okay. And they stayed for a bit, and then they went home, and then I went to bed.
Did you sleep?
No.
No way.
I don't think I slept a wink that night. But I didn't feel tired. Like, even the next morning, I didn't feel, oh, gee, what a hard night. I was just like, I've got to go and do this now.
And as an obstetrician, asking a lady to deliver her dead baby is one of the most difficult things we're going to ask someone to do.
It must be really hard. Yeah.
And, you know, I've said it before, but, you know, it affects us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine that as hard, obviously it's hard for me to be in it. I imagine it's very hard to watch. Because, I don't know, like, you know, for you and Gabe, that were obviously the two people that were really there, you just want to take the pain away, you know, but you can't. Yeah.
So we induced the labour.
Yeah, so we had the Servigen,
Yep.
and then at midday I think you did another dose of Servigen, and then that just sent me sort of rocketing into labour. And I remember I was still on the ward. I didn't even make it to the...
Well, at that particular hospital, they've got a special room
Oh,
that
okay.
they call the sort of the family room where these things happen. So
I was grateful that I was there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have memory of you delivering her in the bathroom
It was in the
on
bathroom.
the floor.
Well, I remember before that I was on the bed, and we thought she was coming, and I sort of thought she was crowning, and then my waters just burst everywhere.
Right.
And then it sort of slowed down.
Right.
And then I was in the bathroom. Yeah, and then it was. Yeah, I remember being on the floor, and I remember what I was saying. I'm gonna die, Peter, I'm gonna die. And I remember you sitting there saying, "You're not gonna die, Liz. You're not gonna die." I'm gonna die. I was so sure I was gonna die. And I hadn't done it without an epidural before.
No.
And so, but I had been determined that I wanted to do that. So I was really feeling it, obviously. Yeah, and then I remember she was really hard to get out. It was so hard, pushing and pushing and pushing, and then yeah, and then I remember Gabe was sort of on my left, and I was on my back on the floor, and then you sort of said, "Okay, here she is," and yeah, that was just the hardest moment of my entire life. I remember you just put her on my chest, and I remember I was wearing I still had my t-shirt on. I was wearing a black and white stripy t-shirt, and then eventually we sort of got that off, and she was just sitting on my chest. And I felt like the roof had physically fallen in. It was so painful to see your dead child, and to finally sort of meet her, but she's not there. So I remember we were just all crying, and I was trying to kiss her, but I couldn't reach her, couldn't get to her head. And so then I remember you cut the...
The cord was too short.
Yeah, it was very short. Yeah. And then you sort of lifted her up and brought her closer to me, and I was just kissing her, and I can still remember how she smelled. And then we sort of stayed there for a little while, and then eventually I think you picked her up and took her into the room, and then as I was sort of getting ready in the bathroom, and
we had the placenta and stuff.
yeah, the midwife was helping me, and Gabe was in the room with you, and he said, I don't know if you remember this, but he said that he was just sitting there looking at her, and you just sat next to him and said, here she is. Which was nice, you know, like we were still happy to meet her, you know, even though it was so hard. Yeah, and then after I got changed and everything, we went into the room and we spent the night with her. And that afternoon, actually, they had the beautiful gown for her and the angel gown, and they had a photographer come in for us, which was so beautiful. And then we had actually all of our family came in.
Like a small army, you know.
Yes. So Gabe's one of 12 and I'm one of 8. There were a lot of people in that room.
It was beautiful. It was great.
It was so beautiful, and it seems weird that everybody came in to meet our baby that was dead in the
Because she's still a part of your family.
Yeah, but it was
part of their family.
That's right, and we felt so touched that they loved her so much. And I remember like Gabe and I saying we felt so proud of her. We were so proud. Like when everybody came in, we were just like, here she is, and isn't she beautiful? And she's got these beautiful little hands the fingers are webbed, and she's got this tiny little chin and these rosy red lips, and all of her little quirky features that made her so sick. We were like overwhelmed with pride about her little feet that were turned in, and it just sounds crazy, but we were so in that moment we were happy actually, and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a very strong memory of the funeral.
Yeah.
There's 1 million people there, honestly, standing room only, which is just a legacy of the community around you.
I'm very lucky.
And this very powerful image at the end of Gabe with Iggy in one hand and the coffin in the other hand, and you, a week after having had the baby, in his arm, walking up the aisle, little tiny coffin and Iggy in the arm, just... I lost it then. That was step one. I lost it.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. I think like the little coffin makes you see how...
precious and sad and tragic and beautiful all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. I feel I feel obviously for women in this position, but from my own experience, I'm glad that my grief isn't complicated with guilt.
That's really well put.
And I am also proud, and I felt proud at the time that we had done what we felt called to do as parents, which is just to love until the end. And we really felt that we did that, even though it was just the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And it sort of goes against some of your inclinations because you want back from your kids a bit, you know, but we could get nothing from her. That's what we felt. But now I see that we gained so much from her. I feel that she taught me actually probably more than I could ever have taught her about life and love and a family.
So I always remember Gabe being a very strong character,
Yeah.
strong personality, but how do you think he coped with all this?
I think in the pregnancy, he didn't fully appreciate what was going on.
Right.
I remember feeling frustrated that I was finding it so hard. Every day was such a battle. You know, people would say to me, how's the pregnancy going? All going well?
Yeah.
And I'd say, yeah. And I felt a bit frustrated that he didn't have that struggle. But he seemed a little bit like he hadn't faced it yet.
Right.
But on the day that she was born, it hit him like a ton of bricks, I think.
Right.
He really was never really much of a crier, but on that day he sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And And
That was
then
his moment.
that was his moment,
Right.
really, to realise, oh my gosh, I can't believe what's happened. Like, I think when it was, when his daughter was in front of him, it really hit him. And then the next day we went home, we said goodbye to Juliet and at the hospital, and we went home, and it was our second wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So we had a sort of dinner at home that night, and we both just sobbed so much. And so I think he probably felt it more in the aftermath of her birth. But again, he struggled. It was hard for him. And I feel for him because I think he was trying to play two roles. He was trying to play the role of the grieving dad, and he was trying to play the role of the supportive husband. And it's very hard to be both.
I acknowledge what you're saying, but I feel like the two can be the same person.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I feel that sometimes he felt that being the supportive husband meant he couldn't be vulnerable.
Right.
He had to be strong. And I just wanted him to just feel it, that's okay. And I think in time he learned that, but I think he had to learn it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we have a lot of support services for the mums who've lost babies, or but I think in recent times we're now starting to realise that
They need
there's
it
another
too.
half
Yeah.
that needs to be
Yeah.
helped too sometimes. So,
Yeah.
How old, or how many months after Juliet was it before you conceived again?
It was too many for my liking.
You
It
were
was
pretty
only
keen.
about, I was very keen. But it was only about 7 months.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I bet that was a difficult pregnancy. Not from the physical, but from the expectation.
Yeah. It was very strange. I had this expectation that everything was going to be better when I had a normal pregnancy. And I had a normal pregnancy, but I couldn't accept that it was normal because for me, it was now the norm that something would go wrong. And so I was certain that something was going to go wrong. And I just couldn't shake it. And so I felt anxious, very anxious the whole pregnancy.
Did you do any genetic testing during that pregnancy?
No, I didn't. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't think that would help.
Okay.
But I just remember even every appointment with you, just like, oh gosh, I just was convinced that you were going to tell me that there was something wrong, and then you didn't, and I just thought like, but how is this going to be okay? It's not going to be okay. I was so sure. And then it got to sort of approaching, I think it was my 38-week appointment with you, and I just burst into tears. I just can't keep going. And you said, would you like to have an induction? And I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, please. Just so that I can just see the baby and make sure that everything was okay. And then we had the induction at 39 and 2. And I remember you coming in. I don't know if you remember, you came in for the delivery when I was fully dilated, and you said, how are the emotions? And I said, Peter, I'm not going to be convinced that this baby's healthy until she's screaming on my chest. And you said, that's completely understandable. And then there she was. She was completely normal. But even then, I still thought there was something going to go wrong.
Really?
So even I remember taking her to her GP appointment and saying, she's got this funny thing with her ears, with her ear hole. I think there's something wrong. And she was an unsettled baby.
Right.
So that probably didn't help. But I just was there's something, and now she's perfectly healthy and normal, and like, thank God for her. But it was very, very hard, very hard.
Did it get any easier with the next pregnancies?
Yeah, it did
Did?
actually. I think I had forgiven myself for being so anxious.
Mm.
So I thought, oh, well, you know what? If I'm anxious, you know, that's okay. And then I wasn't.
Okay.
So I thought, no, like now, okay, things are back to normal again. And I felt very well in the next pregnancy, actually.
Yeah, good. Good. Do you remember your last birth very well?
Yeah.
Because I think you came into spontaneous labour.
No,
that was
no,
another
no.
induction, was it?
No, another induction.
But you
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have an epidural this time.
No, I didn't.
I know.
Oh dear, everybody in the room was probably like, oh, we should have got the girl an epidural.
No, it was a joyful moment. You were
It
so
was.
proud of yourself
I
afterwards.
was
You
proud
didn't believe
of myself. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. I remember it happened very quickly.
It did,
So
yeah.
I remember thinking, and then you just popped your head in the door, just checking if everything's okay, and then it was obviously escalating, and
Yeah.
so. And so he said, I'm just going to check if you're fully dilated. And I was like, no, Peter, no, how does this happen? That it just happens that you walk in at the time that I'm fully dilated. Anyway, and then out she came pretty quickly. It was good.
It was good. Yeah.
Hard, but good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the three younger girls, do they still acknowledge Juliet? They're still pretty small there, aren't
Yeah, they're small. Philippa is 5, so she's starting to realise.
they? She's at school now?
Next year.
Next year? Okay.
Yeah, she's starting to realise that there's another one of us that's not here.
Right.
But she doesn't seem to have the emotional connection that Iggy has.
Okay. Isn't that interesting? Even though Iggy was only like barely a year.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Does Juliet play a role in your family still?
Yeah, a lot. We've got a few photos around, but more than that, it's just like she's our go-to whenever something goes wrong.
Really?
Or whenever anybody's sick, or even the kids. Like, oh, I lost my, my shoes. I've been praying to Juliet, but I haven't found it yet.
Right.
So very much naturally part of us, and we celebrate her birthday, with a cake and stuff. And yeah, she just, Iggy, sometimes when I'm like out at the shops or something, people will ask me how many kids I have. And I always feel guilty doing it, but I often say 4.
Right.
And Iggy, if he's ever there, no mum, 5. Every single time.
Wow.
So it's so beautiful for him. He often says, Mum, I wish Juliet was here, because if Juliet was here, it would be me and her, looking after everybody else. So she's very much
Good.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thanks so much for sharing your story.
It's okay.
A lot of other people who go through similar things, and just to hear the way that you've processed and dealt with it.
Yeah. I think I'll be processing it probably forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's a part of your family, and she'll always be a part of your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Peter.